Hello, okay, and welcome to another new reading vlog. This one we are trying to do a 24-hour challenge. We are doing it timer edition. Basically, every time I read, we start the timer. Every time I stop reading, we stop the timer, if you aren't familiar with what that means. But we are doing it Junji Ito style. If you don't know, my favorite horror author of all time, whether it be stories or manga / graphic novels, is Junji Ito. He literally is the only one of the very few authors that actually terrify me, and that is what I go for. That is what I look for when I am reading a horror book, is to actually be scared. Yeah. Benson hasn't read him yet.
What?
Maybe we can get you to read a Junji Ito in this vlog. I'll give you a good one.
You mean the one with the shark with legs?
I won't make you read that one.
I feel like you're lying to me.
No, because that's a really long one. I mean, I'll let you pick the one you want to read.
I feel like you're lying to me and you're gaslighting me, and I don't appreciate that.
Will you read one?
Maybe.
You heard it here first, folks. It's a maybe. But I can convince them. Either way, we are going to be reading as many Junji Ito as humanly possible. I have read a majority of the books so far. I'm not sure exactly how many. And I did not realize he just came out with a new one that we happened to buy while we were in Boston last time. So we'll be rereading a lot of them. We'll also be trying to finish the ones that I have not read yet. And we'll see how many we can finish in 24 hours. Right now we have already actually started filming for 24 hours. We are currently sitting at 23 hours and 20 minutes and like 39 seconds. So we still have quite a ways to go, but I have started No Longer Human, which is by far either the biggest or the second biggest Junji Ito book that exists. And this one I had started reading on my walk to work the other day. And it definitely seems like, at least at the start, it seemed like it was like humans can sometimes be the scariest monsters. And it also kind of seemed like a story about how comedians can really be dealing with some rough stuff behind the scenes, and how like they want to make people so happy because they are not happy themselves. And then I looked into it a little more because there's some dark stuff that happens in this, like right off the bat, and it definitely seemed like it was autobiographical in some ways. And so I just wanted to look into it and see like what the backstory was. And apparently it is based off of a book, so it's a manga novelization of a novel that was written by somebody else, and he took it and illustrated it. And that's really interesting to me. I have looked into some of the reviews, and some of them think it's really good. Some of them think it might be a little disrespectful. I have not read the original novelization. Obviously, I didn't even know that it was a novel, so I cannot give an opinion on whether or not it does it justice. Maybe I will pick it up later down the line. But for right now, I am only basing my review on Junji Ito's work. My review behind that, not behind the original novel. Yeah, I am about 100 pages into it, and I am reading it on my phone. So I've got about 500 pages left because it is a thick boy. We're gonna try to finish this one before we start any other one. I also have to catch up on Dancing with the Stars today because I missed Disney night the other night because I was working, and I've not had a chance to catch up with it until today. So we're going to try to get a lot of reading done today, but my sister did just text me, and normally when she texts me, it means she wants to make last minute plans. So I might be going out later tonight after I finish all that needs to be done here. For right now, though, maybe while Benson's at work, Benson's at work, I'm either going, or not, well, at work. Well, Benson is going to get our teas from our drink place. We are going to either sit and chill or watch Dancing with the Stars. I have not decided yet. Maybe I'll flip a coin. Because, like, I really, really, really am in the mood to read. And first of all, I am like 25, 26 books behind on my Goodreads goal. Why do you always have to come say hi to me when I'm filming? I love you dearly. You know I do. I'm going to go do one of the things. One of those things. Because I do need to catch up. I also need to catch up on High Potential. Either way, things will be done today. Okay, it's much, much, much later. The same day. It is nearing 8:30. And we are now sitting at 20 hours and 52 minutes left in this challenge. I obviously didn't read as much as I wanted to today, but I did finish 2. So I ended up finishing No Longer Human, which is over 600 pages. So the fact that I finished that today was great. And obviously that took me a while to read because it's a 600-page book. This one, I gave a 3-star. This is the only Junji Ito that I have ever given below a 4-star. And I don't know, I just think it was because, obviously, like I said earlier, it was not an original work by him. Meaning it wasn't like actually, I don't want to say it wasn't actually a horror story. Though I wouldn't call it exactly horror, I would definitely call it a really tragic and sad story of the life of a man. Yeah, like it was, I don't know, it feels weird reading this because this may or may not be like a really personal story to somebody else. So it does feel really weird to try and put a star rating on it. Either way though, really this book just amounted to a lot of sex and drugs, and there's a lot of triggers going into it. Like there is essay shown on page and just a lot of lying, cheating, just things like that. And it didn't really feel like any other Junji Ito that I've written, which I had heard in the past, but I don't know, I still wanted to give it a shot and give it my own review. But then I ended up reading again The Dissolving Classroom, which I had read before and really enjoyed. I gave it a 4-star the last time I read it, and I gave it a 4-star this time as well. I don't think there was really anything that I didn't enjoy about it. But still, so this one follows, it's like a more linear story, but it's also short stories. Because it's short stories following a brother and a sister, and it follows a brother and a sister. And each chapter is like a different situation that they get themselves in, but it's all like a linear story because like it's really just following them and the shenanigans they get up to because they have to move around so much because our sister is potentially possessed by a demon, and our brother goes around apologizing to everybody, which we quickly learn his apologies lead to people's brains melting. So it's like all about that, and it's really gross and interesting and fun. And don't try to sneak up on me and scare the shit out of me because it's not funny.
Keep going.
But this one definitely felt more like a Junji Ito book, and like I said, I had read it before, so I knew what to expect going into it, but I enjoyed it just as much, if not more, the second time. Jacob Benson, can I help you with something?
Nah, you're good.
Do you want to go figure out what we're doing for dinner?
I have no fucking idea.
Go.
My lungs.
Get a partner, they said. It'll be
My
fun.
vagina.
It'll be fun, they said. Okay. I do want to read more tonight. But we haven't figured out dinner, and it's actually past 8 o'clock. It's been like a really long day. Either way, I would like to read more. I don't know if I'm gonna pick up one of the physical ones. I would like to stick to a theme of trying to read like more new ones than rereads. So I think right now one that I have not read before, maybe even like the newest one. Yeah, I think maybe that'll be the plan. If I can find where I put it, it's either upstairs or downstairs. Either way, I'm gonna read something and I will get back to you soon. So far we've read 2. We are sitting at 20 hours. Obviously, No Longer Human took a lot longer to read because it was a 600-page book. What is that? What did you just give me?
I think it's booger or juicy pear.
Pear.
Pear? Okay. Shit. I'll get you next time on Off Guard.
We got a
Welcome to Benson's new side series during Meg's filming called What Bean Boozled Will Benson Give Today with a Surprise?
We got a Bean Boozled packet because, actually, I don't know if I've told you guys, but Benson has recently retested for their tree nut allergy. And basically the general consensus is still allergic to tree nuts. Well, technically still allergic to cashews and pistachios.
Yeah.
But most other tree nuts are fine as long as if and only if we know that they haven't been cross-contaminated with other nuts. So technically still allergic, but can have coconut and coconut oil products. So we finally got a Bean Boozled. And it has been really fun showing them everything that they've missed out on all these years. It's a great time. I'm loving it.
Fucking old banjo is disgusting as dumb shit. Fuck dead fish. That's something I feed my cats, and they can't even have that because they're allergic.
Just
fucking hate it. I love watching Connor suffer, though. Connor, if you're watching this, it's been fun getting your reactions, too. Fuck old rubber. Carry on.
All right, on that random note, I'm going to go figure out what we're doing for dinner and hopefully read some more tonight. Okay, excuse the weird lighting and weird angle. The lighting is really weird in here. But I'm at my sister's house. I'm spending the night here, and we're going to do my nails again. But I did want to check in. I think we're sitting at just over 18 hours left in this vlog. And I have finished the newest Junji Ito to be released in the United States, and that was called Moan. This one had 6 stories, and it was just like a collection of weird stories, as Junji Ito does. One of them was about a guy who lives in this abandoned town, and he starts telling these people the story of his ex-girlfriend and how her blood started like coming out of her body. And then there's another one where this boy moves to a new town and joins this like supernatural club, and then weird stuff starts happening, blah blah blah. All in all, a really fun collection. Oh, and of course the name of the collection is called Moan because there is one story about the sound coming from the pipes and how that kind of affects the family that is living there, including the germaphobe mother. It's all like it was a really good time. No different from how I feel about most Junji Ito's novels. Blah blah blah. And I have started rereading Tombs. I've started rereading Tombs, and again having just as much fun. I should be going into more specific detail about these books, but I'm really not because I don't want it to be like super long. But Tombs was one of my favorites that I've read from Junji Ito in general, and I'm having a great time with it again. There are just so many good, creepy stories. I think I'm going to start going into a little more detail about each book and talking a little more about them. I just don't want this vlog to be like over 2 hours long, and considering I've already gotten through almost 4 of the mangas and we're already 18, like we still have 18 hours left, this is already going to be pretty long. Either way, next time I talk to you, I'll go into a little more detail about Tombs and whatever else I ended up picking up. I did bring a couple of books here with me because I'm going to be here pretty much all day tomorrow too, because I'm hanging out with my sister, and A, we're going to do my nails, B, we're hanging out for dinner. I brought over some barbecue sauce and she's going to make some fried chicken, and it's going to be a really good time. As of right now though, it's already about 11 o'clock and I'm tired. So I just wanted to film this quick update while my sister's sleeping, and I'm gonna go to bed now, and I will talk to you tomorrow and hopefully actually start giving you more of a concise update other than telling you that I just love these books, because it's pretty much the general consensus of most of Junji Ito's works. But I'll talk to you later. Alright, it is very dark and gloomy. I am about to head to work in a few minutes, but I did want to check in because we're sitting at about 15 hours left. This is gonna be like a really long and kind of boring vlog, I guess. I never realized like how much time is in 24 hours when I'm sitting down to film these, but I did finish 2. However, before we start that, I think I'm in a manga slump. Like, not a reading slump because I do want to read, but a manga slump, because specifically manga, I don't know what it is. Like, I'm not actively wanting to pick them up, and when like they're kind of a slog to get through, even though they're pretty short. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm still enjoying these, but it's like trying to pick them up is like awful. Like, it's the same thing with all of my ABCs of manga prompt. Like, the last couple I have DNF'd, and then even like the S manga I have not been wanting to pick up, so I don't know. But either way, I ended up picking up Liminal Zone 1 and 2 last night and getting through a good amount. I mean, finishing them both. In this is another collection of stories where, like, the first one, this is the first one, yes. The first one, we're in this town where weeping women are a thing, and then one of our main characters just finds herself crying all the time, and I liked that one. That one was interesting. And then Madonna, where we are taking a more religious aspect to horror, which in my opinion are some of the scariest. We also have one that takes place in, oh gosh, I forgot the name of it. It is the forest that is most well known for people who want to end their lives. We follow our main characters who go to this forest because our male main character is dying and he wants to go out on his own terms, but then he finds this spirit flow and he enters it and discovers that it makes him feel better, but then he becomes addicted. That one was really interesting and weird. Like, really weird. And then lastly, we follow our main character who has memories of killing people. Like, he has dreams about killing people, and then he's realizing that they are real things that are happening, but he doesn't remember actively killing them. It's like weird and really spooky. So I did enjoy the majority of the stories in that one. It was a, like, I don't want to go into like full synopsis, otherwise this video is going to be over 3 hours long, and I don't want that. But that one, like, the vibes as a whole, really spooky. As always, I think I enjoyed the one about the serial killer the most, probably because I think it was really interesting, like, trying to see if he had actually done it or like what the twist was going to be. And then in Liminal Zone 2, we follow our main character whose house is covered in dust. And yeah, it's like the dust is the bad thing, and we have this housekeeper who is acting kind of sketchy. And the village of Ether is about this boy who used to live in this village, and then he comes back and almost nobody is left in the village other than this one guy, and he has some trauma about this village, but he also loved it so much. Like, his parents had gone missing there, and yeah, it just had a lot of really good, like, good and bad feelings behind it. But he wanted to come and show his friends, and then he discovers that people are still missing. Then we have one about turtles. I don't even know how to describe that one. And then one about this weird family. Our main character comes across this family who is at their family cemetery, and they are saying goodbye to a loved one, and she happens to stumble upon them and realize that they are super weird. Once again, it was a really, really fun time. I think in general, I'm just not enjoying manga right now. But either way, we have 15 hours left in this challenge. I don't have a lot of time to read these next couple of days, but I'm still going to try to finish as much as humanly possible. I'm going to take a few minutes here and there when I can. I am also actively reading Venus in the Blind or something like that. Either way, I have to get to work in a few minutes. I really just wanted to update you that reading is happening. It's just going a lot slower than I wanted. Hello. I have 12 hours left in this challenge. Technically, this is supposed to get uploaded tomorrow. Can I do it? Considering I have to work tonight? Maybe. So I'm going to be trying to read for this through like all of my breaks and any free time that I have so that I can complete this. I think I can do it. Because I have a lunch at job number 1 today. I have a 15 for my second job later, and I have about a half an hour break between job 1 and 2. And that's just today. And then I'm off tomorrow after 3, so it's like the same thing applies. I'll just be reading during every break. Either way, it's a cram. I also have to edit all of this. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see how it goes. Either way, it's going to get uploaded tomorrow because I don't have anything else that can be posted. This is where we're starting to get into crunch time, because a lot of the videos, or some of the videos, have been filmed. The rest of the vlogs have not been finished though. So we still have to read a lot, and we still have to, and it's like, I've been working on this for a while, so it's not even like time management. I think it's the amount of, I think I started too late. I should have used all of September to start this, but I didn't think about doing it until about halfway through September. So that's really on me. Either way, I want to talk about the couple that I finished. I have finished The Black Paradox, which is a reread, and I thought it was fine the first time I read it, but I gave it a 4-star. And then this time I did lower it to a 3-star. I'm noticing a lot of lowering of ratings lately, like for Junji Ito. Do not get me wrong, he is still my favorite horror author of all time, but I think I'm being a little harsher with my ratings, which is really interesting to see. Either way, Black Paradoxes was not my favorite, has never been my favorite. It is about a group of 4 people who try or think about, they meet on this website for suicide, and they agree to meet up and do it together. And then something happens, like they meet their doppelgangers, they end up being attacked, they decide to postpone it. And then something happens where one of them does die, and it ends up leading them to this weird, mysterious world. And then it takes off from there. And like, I'll say it is super interesting, but definitely not the scariest. It does hit on some hard topics, but like obviously in Junji Ito fashion, it doesn't go too much into those topics, which would have been interesting to see if it did. Either way, I think it was fine. I just do not prefer that one as much as others that I've read. And then we have Allie, which I am currently in the middle of. I also restarted Gyo. But Allie, that I'm currently in the middle of on ebook. On one hand, this has some of my favorite stories, like the beginning one being Allie, and the one that I'm currently reading, Mold. Like, it has some of my favorite stories that definitely give me the creeps. But then on the other hand, it has probably my least favorite story that Junji Ito has ever written, which is the one about cigarette smoke. Like, I just could not get into that one at all, to the point where I wanted to just read past it and then jump to another story, but I didn't. I read through it. And then Gyo, which like I should talk about a little later, because A, I have to go to work, and B, I have not finished. Either way, I have restarted Gyo, and I don't want to say excited to be back in this world, but I do love this book because it fucking terrifies me. There are two things that scare the heck out of me, and that is deep space and deep ocean. And it's not because there's anything particularly scary in there. I think there's some pretty majestic creatures in the ocean, and I think definitely it could be explored more, and like I would love to know more about it. But that's where it lies. I would love to know more about it. Not knowing is the terrifying part. There could literally be any amount of creepy ass creatures in that ocean. Same thing with space. Still having a good time with this reading challenge. Just running out of time because I still have to edit and read and get this all uploaded. And it might not even be worth it because this could be a very, very, very boring vlog of just me talking about Junji Ito, which you may or may not enjoy. I do not know. Either way, I have to go to work. And hopefully see you later with an update that I finished one or two more things. Okay, hey, excuse the lighting. Still have not fixed the overhead light. It's been a while. This is technically the day this vlog was supposed to go up a couple days ago. But today is the day that is actually getting uploaded. And we still have a few hours left in this challenge. I'm definitely not going to complete it. Otherwise, this vlog wouldn't get posted until midnight. And then we would have failed the 13 nights of Halloween. And we don't want that. I do have to get I do have to start editing because I have not started editing this vlog at all. So I have to start doing that. And I'm gonna like be reading in between getting everything uploaded. But we finished 3 more books since we talked last. We finished, did I talk to you about Junji Ito's Cat Diary? So we might have finished 4. If I haven't talked to you about the Cat Diary, it is a really short little book that follows Junji Ito and his experience with cats. And I just thought it was really cute as someone who has 2 cats myself, both of them being tuxedos. It is really accurate to cats. Though accurate and not accurate because our cats happen to be just such cuddle bugs, and I know not every cat is. Our cats are just super sweet and cuddly, and yes, they get into their troubles. They are both a year old, so they get into their terrible stages, but overall our cats are really great. So it was really, I love reading manga and graphic novels that like depict cats, because it's just such a funny thing when you have cats to see all of the parallels and the things that you think, why is my cat so weird? Like, this has to be a unique experience. It's really not, because other cats do it all the time. It's just such a funny experience. And then I finished Love Sickness, I think is what it's called. Okay, so this one is a weird one. Okay, so it's about half, I would say half, about this, it takes place in this town where you can get your fortune told by like random people on the streets. They're called like crossroad fortunes. And it's supposed to be the first person that passes by you, you ask them a question, and they are supposed to give you a fortune or an answer to your question. And we follow our main character who he's recently moved back home to this town. And he has an interesting past with fortunes, and I don't want to say what it is because that is a spoiler, but he has an interesting past with them, so he's not really a big fan of them. But then this random boy starts popping up and giving bad fortunes to people, leading to what seems to be a string of suicides, which is a really common theme in Junji Ito's works. It's really interesting now that I'm like reading all of them back to back. You kind of realize themes that get shown again and again, kind of like how I feel about Riley Sager, but I think Junji Ito can get away with it. It's fine. I mean, it's not fine because it's a really dark topic that if you're not expecting, it is hard to read, but that is a pretty common theme in his works. Yeah, so that storyline takes about half of the book. And then we have a couple of stories that surround this family who are a little weird. They end up meeting this girl who is taking pictures of graves, and they end up inviting her onto the property, and it just leads to weird, ghostly shit. Those stories were fine, but not particularly something I enjoyed. Like, I wanted more of the first storyline. Not that it ended in, like, a cliffhanger or anything, but it just feels weird to have half of the book be something following the same storyline and then not stick with that throughout the whole thing. So we had a couple of chapters based on that family, and then 2 random bonus short stories. So it's like 50% one story, I'd say like 40% another story, and like 10% short stories. It was just like a weird way to make the collection, and it's not like they couldn't have just made the Crossroads story one book, because it was about 200 pages or more. They could have just made that its own book. Like, not every short story or not every book that he writes needs to be over 400 pages, which they're not. So I don't know, it just felt weird. Like, weird to split them all into one book when over half of it is, yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like an interesting choice. I still enjoyed it, but I think I would have enjoyed it more if it was all just that one linear story instead of adding on different stories that just didn't fit with the collection. And then, okay, yeah, so I did have 4. And then I read Censor, which was one of those shorter Junji Ito books that I was just talking about, that Love Sickness could have been. But I read Censor, yeah. And it is about, so it's a collection of stories that all follow one character, and it's about this girl who discovers this lava hair / angel hair, and it leads to this guy getting kind of obsessed with her, and like, he's a journalist and he's trying to figure out exactly what happened, and it leads to some strange occurrences. This one, again, probably wasn't one of my favorites. It was fine. It was another one that I read. Again, like, this was not the first time reading it. I think it's really interesting to read these stories that I may or may not remember, or because, like, I didn't remember reading this one. But then as soon as I picked it up, I was like, oh yeah, and then this happens, and this happens, and this happens. And it was a fun experience. Again, not my favorite. I don't think I've had a 5-star yet, until the one that I just talked about. Okay, so I think I rated this one, sorry, my headphone, I think I rated this one 5-star the first time I read it, and it's no different this time. But I reread Gyo, which is probably my favorite Junji Ito so far. It could change, but this one, we follow our 2 main characters who are on vacation. They're on vacation at this beach, and when they're there, the girlfriend starts complaining about the smell in the air and realizes that it's from the ocean, from the fish. But then weird things start happening when the fish and other sea creatures start popping up with legs. And they're like weird mechanical legs, and like, this pretty much describes it. And this is why it's so freaky to me, because I think I've said a few times in this series, the deep sea is something that terrifies me to no end. It actually scares the living shit out of me because there are so many unknown things. so many unknown things. I would love to know more about the ocean. Like, it is so fascinating to me because I love sea creatures and I love learning more about sea creatures and the ocean, but it also terrifies the shit out of me because there are so many unknown things that we'll probably never know. But the whole book, it's literally just one linear story following the same characters and the weird circumstances behind these animals that suddenly grew legs and are terrorizing the land. This one also has a suicide in it, if that's something that triggers you. I know Junji Ito's not for everybody, and that is okay. He just happens to be one of my favorite authors. Okay, so those are the 4 that I've read recently. Again, I don't think I'm ever gonna finish the timer because it won't work out time-wise. But we're gonna read as much as we can while getting this video edited, and I think I'm also cooking dinner tonight. I'll check in with you later when I've read a little bit more. Okay, it's been a couple hours. I have edited everything up until this point, and I did read for a bit. I wanted to read so much more. I do still have a few hours left on the timer, but I don't have a few hours left in the day. I mean, I do, but it's already almost 9 p.m. I really don't want to upload this past midnight. I didn't even want to upload it past 10, but, you know, here we are. I did manage to get one more book finished, and I did start another one. I started a reread of Romina, which I said Gyo was my favorite. I think Gyo and Romina are tied as being my favorite Junji Ito of all time. But the one that I read for the first time was Deserter. And I think this might be my favorite short story collection by Junji Ito since Allie. I loved Allie. Do not get me wrong, but Deserter, I do not think there was a single story in here that I didn't enjoy. Literally from the very first one, where our 2 main characters are eating bugs. And then the guy starts wanting her to drink his blood. It's so weird, but I loved all of the stories in here. There were some really, really short ones that honestly just made this book feel, I don't want to say like, just made this book feel so interesting and intriguing. And there was one really long one that I was starting to get sick of, but honestly, even with those like little nitpicky things of like some stories felt too long while others felt too short, it's still probably my favorite collection, maybe tied with Allie. I had so much fun with this and I really didn't want to stop reading it, but it ended, so I had to. Overall though, I think I had a really good time with this vlog. I did want to continue to the very end because I think I've tried doing a ton of 24-hour reading vlogs in the past and I've never made it the full 24 hours. I think I just get sick of, I don't want to say I get sick, but I think like, I don't know if the timer method works for me because 24 hours is a lot longer than you think. Like, I love the idea of these challenges. I also think, like, I definitely could have finished this if I spent more time reading manga, but I think, as I mentioned in one of my last clips, I'm just in a huge manga slump. I just don't want to read manga. I would rather be sitting here with a 500-page book than reading through a manga, and I don't know why, because typically manga are my go-to when it involves like just reading something short and quick and easy, especially because I am over 20 books behind on my Goodreads reading challenge. So I should be wanting to pick up manga right now, and I'm not. And it's actually really, really, really sad because I just want to, because I don't know, there's so many good manga stories, manga series that I should be wanting to get into, and it's just not hitting for some reason, and it's actually really upsetting me, including Snow White with the red hair, which is now overdue from the library. I have like 20 volumes, and about half of those are, or 20 volumes out from the library, and over half of those are overdue. So I either need to read it or skip the S manga again, which I don't want to do. Alright, either way, overall, there were 22 books that we needed to read for this, including the brand new one that I did not know about. And we read 13 of those. And that's not bad considering I have about 6 hours. I had about 6 hours left in this challenge. I so could have finished. So could have finished. But I need a video out for today, and I have nothing else ready. That's not a sit-down video. And I don't want to post, this would be the third sit-down video in a row, and I don't want to do that. So, up this video goes. And I don't know, maybe we'll try this again, but I don't think so. I think, I mean, I do want to reread more Junji Ito, because it was really, really fun getting back and getting to visit old stories that I've already read, and maybe fall in love with them again, or maybe I didn't like them as much as the first time, but I have an appreciation for them now. It was a lot of fun. Junji Ito is still one of my favorite authors. Would I recommend him? Yes and no, because I love him and I want other people to read him and love him too. But like I said, a lot of his work deals with some really, really harsh topics. Ignore the Ben and Jerry's in the background. It's really, really cold tonight, and yet I still ate ice cream. Either way, I had a really good time with this. I'm going to continue to read Junji Ito's works. And maybe talk my fiance into reading him, but it has to be like a very specific book. Because I don't know if Benson is going to like Junji Ito's works. They're not a super horror fan most of the time anyway. Either way, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. Let me know if you have ever read any of Junji Ito's work and what you thought of them. Even if you didn't like them, it's fine. We can deal with it. As long as you're being respectful. And let me know if you do enjoy Junji Ito, what your favorite Junji Ito manga is, and if I've read it or not. I mean, you might not know if I've read it, but I'll let you know if I've read it. And then we can talk about it, and it'll be just a great time. And what your least favorite Junji Ito manga is. And if you really don't have anything to leave me, then leave a fish emoji for a Gio. Alright, everybody, I will see you tomorrow with another night of Halloween.